Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is great Malabite, Arise News analyst, Emmanuel Efeni.
Good morning, Ruben.
How are you?
Good morning, Rufai.
Good to see you.
You're almost tongue-tied pronouncing my name, and Tundo had to rescue you. Good morning, Victoria Tundo MK Abiola.
Good morning, Mr. Efeni.
Yes.
So I call your full name. Emmanuel.
Ogenekewe
Ogenekewe.
Efeni. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, let's start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, Bandits, Massacre 40 in Sokoto market. Buhari declares total war, says their days are numbered. Troops kill 10 in Kaduna. Tambuwa calls for coordinated operations in states. Autumn worries about situation in schools. U.S. express readiness to help. This is another sad day. Gruesome murder of Nigerians, innocent citizens who are going about their daily lives. Massacred in Sokoto market. Of course, the honorable member who was on this program earlier on, the representative of these people almost shared chairs on this program. But this is one killing too many. Yes, the president, of course, declaring that total war before the announcement of this massacre came to light. Yes, we'll continue to support the military, but I think they will have to do more than just what they are doing now. Of course, this situation where policemen are moved, few policemen sent to these local governments, and some being moved to Anambra, yet these policemen, as they were sent there, not even properly armed. And the honorable member confirmed that indeed the policemen told him that they are not as equipped as the bandits they are expected to confront. That in itself is a major indictment. This is why I cannot brook the recent saying or declaration of one of Ruben's successors at Aso Villa, the one who likes to call you ancestor, saying that Nigeria is more secured today than in 2015. I hope he will go and tell the families of these 40 Nigerians who have been so massacred in Sokoto that kind of tale. Now, before I come back to this day, other newspapers, how they are reporting this particular story. The Daily Trust newspaper, how bandits killed dozens in Sokoto market. Governor says 43 die, blames attack on Zamfara operation. Different bandit groups mobilized to launch attack. Security challenge surmountable Sultan. Troops gunned down 10 in Kaduna. While the Daily Sun also reporting this story, it's saying bloodbath in Sokoto market. 30 killed in attack, policemen murdered, 2 vehicles stationed burnt in Ebonyi. Get ready to be crushed, Buhari tells bandits. Security forces killed 10 in. If I just come back to this day newspaper above the masthead, yes, Buhari, Obasanjo, Jonathan, Akinyemi, Mon, Powell commiserate with U.S. government. Obagbene salutes a man who chaired event that battered Arise group. Yes, Colin Powell. But if we also just bring quickly the Wall Street Journal, because they are also reporting this story. If the director can quickly give us, yes, the Wall Street Journal. Powell, a trailblazing general and top diplomat, dies at 84. We go back to this day and look at this day front page. The photograph there also tells a lot of story. That's Colin Powell and the chairman and editor-in-chief of the This Day Arise Media Group, Nduka Obagbena. This photograph was taken at the Royal Herbert Hall, where that event that heralded the coming of Arise TV took place. I was there titled Africa Rising. And one can still recall the powerful speech made by Colin Powell there, because that event was the fourth in the series of music shows. And it was meant to find a sustainable solution to the problems facing Africa. And it was not surprising that he made that speech. But it will also be recalled that what grabbed the headlines the following day was the General Colin Powell, dancing to the music, Yahoozy. And the British press, a couple of newspapers, put their own slant that he was dancing to music, praising internet fraudsters. And of course, that jolted everybody, including Prince Nduka Obagbena that day, because that was not the kind of headline we were expecting the following morning. I was somewhere, because immediately after that show, the following morning, I left with the first EasyJet flight to Belfast to meet my family. And I was still sleeping when I was called. You are sleeping, don't you know there's problem? What problem? I said, Colin Powell. They have attached him to internet fraudster. I was dancing to internet fraudster. Of course, you remember that music. A hit. Olumente. Coincidentally, Olumente was not originally on the bill because we had other musicians like Seal, Christina Aguilera, and of course Yusuf Ndo, the African musician. And the Senegalese musician. And Olumente, hibernating somewhere in London, pop up and said he wants to be part of the show. Of course, he was given the stage, and he's just seized the moment and literally pulling everybody, including Colin Powell, to the stage to dance. And the General danced to the music. But despite that bad press, what happened was that Colin Powell, the General, a Republican, left that show, Africa Rising, straight to the US, where he called the press conference and endorsed the candidate of the Democratic Party, Barack Obama. And that was the end of the story of Colin Powell dancing to Yahoo music. And of course, what grabbed the headline was thereafter was this endorsing of Barack Obama, his black brother. Well, we all miss him. He's done his bits. General Colin Powell himself made his mark as a general, as a diplomat, and in statecraft in the US. I know Ruben will have a lot to say on that. Now, let's just look at other stories quickly. The Guardian newspaper, Alegbeshola's camp dragged Bumi others to court over APC congresses. I will respond to your false allegations in due time, Lai Mohammed tells Kwara governor. Stakeholders finger Amosu in cracks in Oyo APC other states. Uzodinma conducted birthday party, not Congress, says Okorocha. PDP secretaryship consensus threatened as more aspirants emerge from the Southeast. The Southeast, they cannot come to a consensus like the North on the chairmanship. Well, it's part of politics. If they cannot come to a consensus, let all the Igbo candidates for the secretary position come to the convention and contest. That is how it goes. Now, also, the Punch newspaper reporting this story, APC convention under threat. Aggrieved party members cite ruling against Bumi. Recall that judgment against Bumi, who said it's a booby trap that may be used one day. Now, some are citing that Bumi's panel, not recognized by law, activities will be illegal. Ekiti Group. We inform National Secretariat about our congresses, says Lagos for Lagos. Keyamo's group heads for appeal court against Omar Gege faction. Factionalization everywhere within the APC. Now, the leadership in the newspaper, first, just come back to the Punch newspaper and look at the photograph. The Punch newspaper, please. Yes, that photograph there, that is the Songo Ota area of Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway, like a river. Bad road, you can see. Even commuters cannot see where to walk. But if you now look at the leadership newspaper. Now, this is the story, the whole story about bad roads. Bad roads everywhere, despite 1.12 trillion allocation in 5 years. We suffer frequent vehicle breakdowns, attacks at field sports, transporters. Our roads are now death traps. Kidnappers haven't seized passengers. Government doing its best to fix highways, controllers of work declare. Of course, if you go through this story, a lot of federal roads listed here that are in terrible shape. A couple of days ago, no, sometime last week, I called out the Minister of Works for these on these bad roads. And of course, a colleague of mine called to say, you are not being fair to the minister. I said, how? He said, well, you know that they don't provide him with enough funds. But bad roads everywhere, that is what the leadership newspaper is reporting. And the paper is talking about federal roads in different parts of the country. It's something the Buhari administration will have to live with. You want to give us infrastructure. That's why we're borrowing so much, but we still have so many bad federal roads, and Nigerians are groaning. Now, the Daily Independent newspaper, consumers lament 25% rise in food prices in a month. Mobile phone prices moved up by over 20% in 3 months. Now, the story of inflation, food inflation. Yesterday on the Global Business Reports, Bobson Ofai was talking about the jollof rice index, which is now very high. Not many families can afford a good jollof rice because of the prices of foodstuff going up every day in the market. And this, we're talking about 25% rise in a month. Now, if you look at the Business Day newspaper, another worrisome matter for housewives and women at large. Nigerians stock cooking gas as price heads for 10,000 naira. You need to buy more cylinders. I don't know how long you can accumulate or keep these gas cylinders as the price of cooking gas. Yes, we'll say it's not peculiar to Nigeria. You have it, the problem in the UK, elsewhere. But we are also a nation blessed with huge gas reserve. Now, finally, the New Telegraph newspaper, IPOB, federal government files fresh charges against Nnamdi Kanu. Dialogue with IPOB as with Metiala produced Kanu in court. Ohaneze tells government, Ifeanyi Uba 6 court permits to visit Kanu in custody. We are freedom fighters, not kidnappers, IPOB tells DSS. While the Vanguard newspaper, 1 year after NSAS protest, while protesters are still in detention, bodies of slain policemen yet to be released for burial, families, burn stations yet to be fixed, policemen walking like refugees. How I narrowly escaped hoodlum attack, policemen. COVID response slow, yet to rehabilitate 44 burnt police stations. Policemen still lack crowd control devices. Yes, Ruben, this is your back page for today. Yes, I'm sure it's a must read for many Nigerians. Ruben Rufai and
I don't know.
Victoria MK Biola.
We have just 1 minute to go.
Oh dear.
We've commented at length on Colin Powell. And, we had the privilege of a conversation with Jamie Wright, who helped to put his legacy in context. But there's something here that, grabbed my attention, which is the editorial of this day newspaper.
You always read editorial, Ruben, former editorial board chairman.
At page 15.
Yes.
Where the this day newspaper is talking about the growing cases of incest in Nigeria and the need for government to enforce laws against incest. We see many of those stories in the papers. When you see those stories, they're usually shocking. They look like some kind of perfect exemplification of how some people just, have gone crazy in our environment. And the laws are there. The Marriage Act, the Matrimonial Causes Act, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, the Criminal Code, and all of this. And it's about public morality and the health of our community. And, I support the argument in that editorial that these laws just have to be enforced. The fact that somebody is your relation, does not mean that you have the right to violate them. And in the concluding paragraph, the editorial is calling for a Sexual Offences Act, which many non-governmental organizations have been calling for. And it's not just about incest here. All of this is also related to the inadequacy of the laws, both in terms of evidence and definition with regard to rape and violence against persons generally. The other issue that I thought you would draw attention to is the conference of the Nigerian Guild of Editors starting on Thursday in Abuja. And what makes that attractive is not because there's going to be a conference, it's because of the theme. Media in times of crisis, resolving conflicts, achieving consensus, which is something that defines the circumstances in which we have found ourselves. What should be the role of the media when a country faces crisis? The old argument, government officials who say, oh, you have to be patriotic, you have to defend the national interest. Who defines that national interest?
We know what the national interest is.
And then how do you achieve consensus around some of the key issues? Anyway, we seem to have run out of time.
I just quickly want to enunciate gas prices, cooking gas prices are on the high.
Yes.
Something should be done about them.
To 10,000 naira now.
Cooking gas prices, people are suffering. People are beginning to use firewood again. And we are talking climate change. Please, cooking gas prices are on the high. Whoever is there, do something about it.
Well, thank you, Emmanuel.